Again, Harris, I mean, we look at past candidates. That's why I'm not buying this whole faux conservative Trump thing. Yeah. Mitt Romney wasn't a true conservative either, and neither was John McCain. And that really didn't matter the last time around. This is bigger than just attacks from a libertarian. And by the way, a libertarian like Ron Paul. This is bigger than that.
All right, so here's what I'm watching. I've been watching Donald Trump as he's been having these crowds of 10, 15, some estimates up to 20,000 just this week alone. And you look at the faces of the people who are in that crowd. You know who they look like? Everybody. Everybody. It's not just what kind of viewpoint he might have. Sanders said, well, I wasn't quite sure where he fell on this. He's a free thinker, but you know what he is, and this is what he has been selling that resonates more than anything else. He's a winner. That's and right. That cuts across every political column. Whether you're Democrat, you're conservative, you're more liberal, whatever you are, if you've got a W, a V for victory, that's what he's been about. That works for him.
I also think that people are intentionally misinterpreting some of the things that he's saying. I mean, when they're talking about how he's going to raise taxes and he's for big government, if you listen specifically to what he said on Bill O'Reilly's show last night, he was talking about the fact that he wants to lower taxes on the middle class. He wants to lower taxes on corporations. He said the hedge fund guys, they have to pay. He didn't say pay more. He said they have to pay. Bill followed up and he said, what about me? I'm a guy who makes a lot of money. Am I going to pay more? And he said, no, you're going to pay less because we're going to have a flatter system. It's not going to be flat. It's going to be tiered. So your rate would be higher, but you'd end up paying less. And I think that people aren't listening to the detail because they get lost. It is, but if you can do math, you can understand. And Bill made it very clear. He said, what about me? You know, and he would pay less. Bill's a rich guy, in case you didn't know it out there. He makes a lot of money. So, you know, I don't know.
It's a very populist message that a lot of people in both parties don't have the guts to deliver.
We'll see.
All right.
It's a simple message, but everybody's waiting for the real details on that tax plan.
True.
Correct.
Lowering corporate taxes is a win.
And be sure to tune into the best part of tonight. The post-debate analysis, and of course, the very best one starts at 11 Eastern right here with Bill O'Reilly. I will be joining Bill as well this evening. Then it's Megyn Kelly at midnight and into the wee hours with Sean Hannity at 1 a.m. So have your 5-hour energy drinks right here on FNC.
All right, we are looking forward to that. Thanks, Andrea. Meantime, more and more Republicans seeing Donald Trump as their man. That's according to a new poll that finds 39% of GOP primary and caucus voters view the Donald as their best shot at winning the presidency, up 13 points just from last month alone. This as the billionaire businessman was endorsed by the group Veterans for a Strong America, who invited him to speak to a crowd of supporters on the battleship USS Iowa in Los Angeles.
The silent majority, believe me, is back. And I think we can use it somewhat differently. I don't think we have to call it a silent majority anymore, because they're not silent. People are not silent. We're doing something special. This is a movement. We're going to make our country great again. Believe me, we will make our country great again.
Okay, so it is a movement. We can all agree on that. But could anything sink Donald Trump at this point?
Absolutely. Look, there's a lot of time before the votes are cast. However, that being said, I've had conversations with very senior Republicans, those who have supported establishment candidates like Mitt Romney and John McCain in the past, all who are now saying this guy could win. And not only could he win the primary, he might actually have a chance at winning a general election.
Why won't the establishment of the GOP, the RNC, Reince Priebus, why won't they get behind Donald Trump? He's the front runner. He is soaking up all the oxygen in the room. And by the way, if he becomes too much a villain on the stage tonight, and they don't focus on Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, that makes the Republican Party look like they're a little tone deaf. I mean, the competition really is across the aisle.
So a matter of process, the RNC would not necessarily get behind any particular candidate this early in the stage. I think their job is more to kind of referee this primary process.
I'm thinking back to the meeting that Reince Priebus had, like, tone it down to Donald Trump. Is he having that with everybody?
I hear what you're saying, and not everybody's necessarily following Trump's strategy of being as kind of bombastic and very pointed toward Republican candidates. That being said, we've said, what are the words we're talking about today? Populist, winner. These are going well outside the traditional Republican voter, which is why when you envision, which is great, absolutely, but which is why when you envision a Trump candidacy in a general election, you could finally see him winning. But what could potentially sink him is the conclusion among the establishment, the big groups, the independent expenditure guys, that, wow, we might not be able to win. Our guys might not win. Jeb Bush might not win. Scott Walker might not win. But we could almost guarantee Donald Trump loses
well, historically
if we focus
speaking, to
negatively
Harris's
on him.
point, enthusiasm does not always translate to votes. And Melissa, when you look at Democratic voters, they are a lot more enthusiastic about Hillary Clinton as their possible nominee than Republicans are about Donald Trump. 48% of Democrats say they would support her enthusiastically, while just 35% of Republicans said the same about Trump.
I don't know, but I mean, all these polls, they always make my head spin. You know, when you look at the number of people they're predicting that are going to actually go out and vote within the GOP core, you know, they predicted something like 40% would go and vote. Normally it's about 10%. So these polls kind of drive me crazy in the numbers if you drill down on it. I mean, I just think it's back to a point that Andrea's been making all along, that the Republicans finally have somebody who is dynamic, who is exciting, who is getting TV time, who is inspiring people, and it feels like their goal is to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid of him.
Or make him seem like everybody else. And by the way, we're talking about whether or not you can sink him. He's on a battleship.
Yeah.
Right. Reaching out to 1,000 veterans. I don't think he's fettered at all.
The symbolism isn't
You brought up
lost.
a great point, Tony. You said our guys when you said the establishment. Their guys have been losing. The establishment candidate has not been able to win. And that's the word, as Harris, as you very astutely pointed out, that people finally want to see. And also, they're sick and tired of talking points. They feel the country slipping away, and they want someone who's going to fight to save it without lobbyist money and without a teleprompter. This is bigger than this. And I think, Sandra, this is why also Carly Fiorina is resonating. I mean, you know better than anyone. If she can handle that shareholders meeting at HP, she can handle a GOP debate, and she can handle the White House.
Interesting point. Actually, I had the chance to talk to a former Bill Clinton speechwriter this morning who pointed out we're all a little bit tired of watching the formulaic speeches that have been delivered by the current president.
Guys, let's not bury another lead. Ben Carson gained from 1% to 23%. So it's precisely what we're talking about. It's this anti-political class movement. And if you don't want the bombastic Trump, you have the civil Ben Carson to go to.
All right, things are just heating up here. Lawmakers have just one more day to